Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thru-Line. I'm your host, Christine Demorier, and today's date is July 13th, 2026. Welcome to the show. You guys jump on into the chat room, join me. I'm live streaming on YouTube for everybody who's listening over at 12 Radio. I know we've made the shift, which is so cool. And the 12 Radio staff is here now on YouTube live streaming. So, welcome, guys. And you're coming into the room. That's fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world that we are a part of. I'm a numerologist, and today what we're going to be talking about is this really kind of sort of intense energy of 7 that, I know, Serena. Hi, Serena. Hi, you're just the do's and the don'ts, I know. So before I jump into that, I want to let everybody know that I am an intuitive advisor over at 12listen.com. I am a very proud member of the intuitive staff over there, and I work there every single day. So if you guys ever need a reading with me, if you'd like to have a reading, you can find me over there most days, all right? Along with my fellow cohorts. So if you hear some noise in the background, there is some stuff going on out in the street that I live on, and they're running through and taking down a bunch of foliage. And Jetson, my cat, is absolutely panicked with the sound. So you guys just hang in there, and it should ebb and flow. All right. Let me say hi to everyone in the chat room, and then let's talk about this very strange energy that we have going on in July. Sherry, hi. Hey, welcome to the show. And Suzanne, hello. I'm glad you're here with me today. And then, of course, Serena. Hi, honey. You guys. All right. So if you don't know what your personal year number is, it's a very simple math equation. You add your day and your month of your birth, and then so if it's a double digit number at the end of that, then you break it down to a single digit, and then just add the number 1 to it, because 2026 is a one personal year, a global year that we're sitting inside of. And what that means is a lot. There's many shows that I've covered on the 2026 energy. So, all right, you add those numbers together, you get your personal year. Most people who are in this show, I'm not even going to go over it again. My brain is really been focused on writing, and so coming in and talking right now is I've just got to get back into the seat of my live streams and get back into the seat of this. I've been deep in telling my story, and that is a part of a triptych set that I have actually built. And it also ties into what's going on in July, all right? That I want to weave this together, because July is a couple of things. In numerology, it sees it as like a pause point. Its number is 7. And that 7 energy has a very interesting personality to it. So we know it's the midpoint of the 12-month cycle. We get that. And July is the sign of, it's in the sign of Cancer for the most part. And we feel the the breath and the release of the summer months, but there's also this energy which is highly cerebral, and our heads start to go in directions that are pointing us towards things that maybe we just haven't quite cleaned up, or we're thinking about really this concept about why we're here. 7 is connected to the number of the mystic, and mysticism is it's why, what are we doing here? What are we doing here as human beings, having this nuts ball experience of a life? You know, what's the point and the purpose of it? The 7 energy has a role to play that is important in our personal lives, of how we're thinking about how we're living our life. And the partnership to garner and support with your mind what is going on in your mental field is a key component to that. 7's connection is the relationship to intellectual intelligence, and that signifies the mind, not the brain, the mind. So the mental field processes all of our emotional data on top of it, right? So we could potentially have a perfect storm in July. And what I've noticed with a lot of the calls that I've been getting is people trying to manage that. And this is the part of your personal year that is in a relationship dynamic with this month's energy. So if you know what your personal year is, and you know that you are in the 7 energy, which has some really beautiful characteristics to it, the opening of analyzing and reviewing the things that you're thinking about. Why are you thinking about them? The emotions that you're having. Why are you thinking? Why are you feeling that? And then how is your mind translating all of that, right? It's a highly intellectual number that can get stuck in a back eddy and then just really struggle to get out. So taking it into the do's and the don'ts lists of July is a practical way to harness exactly that spot that you are assessing and you're analyzing it, and to think about the process itself in a very different way. All right, so let's get into this. I think if I just start to explain it to you guys inside of your personal year, you'll actually understand it. 1 personal year's, your bogey and your target in July is the number 8. So 1 plus 7, July is the 7th month, is 8. And where you're going to be, the word is grinding and processing and like flipping over, is abundance, success, prosperity, the spots that you would like to shore up, and that looks like finances, that looks like your recognition, it looks like success out there in the marketplace. Now the 7 can do amazing things for the 1 personal year in that way, because it can really look at the authenticity of your showing up in abundance. You're showing up authentically. You know, it's the element, mysticism sits in the heart, because the heart is connected to spirit. Whatever that energy is that is causing my body sitting here, your body sitting wherever you're at, to function. It's consciousness. It is an energy source, and it makes our heart beat. And so, what really seven is that how are you showing up in this life? And what are you here for? And what are you doing? Obviously, then that wisdom pipes into how we're thinking about things. And then obviously, that pipes into how we're translating emotions that we have. Leave it there. When there is a spinning and a flipping out, like for example, for the one personal year with 8, and the reason why I call these to do's and to don'ts lists focus, bogey, target. Do your best not to focus, bogey, target over there. No, it's babysitting your mind. And it's babysitting what you're thinking about, and it's babysitting how you're going about doing your life. Right? What's the intentionality behind it? Clearly for the one personal year with abundance, where is the success that's beginning to bloom in your life? You want to be incredibly forward thinking about how you're laying down what you're laying down in a way that is authoritative. You're confident. You guys have built something extraordinary and you know what you're doing. And so there's this need to step up into that position and to do it in a way that is backed by executive decision making, the things that you have been circling for a while now. You know that they're locked in place, and keep your focus on your goal and make sure that that goal, don't add anything more to your plate. Nurture the things that you have laid down. And then this is month of looking at how you just look at your harvest and where things are at. How are your fresh seeds that you have planted in business and in relationships, but mostly for the one pin, it is sitting in your business ventures. Not to start anything new, you guys, but it's looking at things and thinking about things that there isn't this marvelous. Look at this beautiful potpourri that I've created. And how lovely is it that I have been the one to generate this into action? Note, if you're a one life path, you guys just listen to the tick and tie that's connecting these things together, all right? Where the mind gets tricky with the 8 energy is it can start hoarding resources. It can begin to pull back and become miserly and think that there is just not enough to go around, and I have to, like a monkey in a jar, I've got to hold on tight. The mind can take over in ways that are just overwhelming when it comes to our business and our money, and where's our base, and that can keep us up at night. And then that turns into where we're not partnering with people. It's such a powerful number, the number 8. It is the personal year number that many people are, they think that's the time when there will be abundance, success, prosperity. And while that's true, we are still in relationship with that abundance and money and prosperity, and how we're thinking about it and how we're feeling about it. And are we collaborating with others with a wide open heart? Heart 7. And are we leaning in as opposed to, pushing back? So, and not trusting and not collaborating. Where is our thinking around this? How are we settled? Are we grounded? in our focus and our bogey and our goals. Yeah. So the 2 personal year, you guys, the 2 personal year is going to be um, thinking about, because your bogey is a 9, what you're going to be thinking about is things that have everything to do with letting go and the past. And can you let go of the past? There is a cycle that is asking for you to finish it up. And whatever that cycle is for the 2 personal year, it's around something that is about letting go of a relationship, of a way of being, of a way of doing. It has weight to it. And where it has weight to it for the 2 energy, the 2 personal year, is in a relationship. And because the 2 personal year is all about relationship, it's all about relating, it's all about partnering with, it's all about balance and balancing of my needs, my desires, my goals are just as important as yours. And it doesn't matter what's usually going to be an intimate relationship here when it comes to this 9 energy that's kind of sitting here, and it's sitting in your thoughts. What needs to be cleaned up? It could be a way of thinking about the relationship itself. Is it possible that you missed something? Is it possible that something's just not quite right? And you opening up your heart and allowing new information to come through that shows you the truth of something, rather than things that you've been thinking about inside of a specific relationship. When you sit on a 9 is always wanting to take over your thoughts and pull you to the back of your life. Always is just back there. And there are things that get stuck on a loop in how you're thinking. And that kicks in your emotional feeling center, and then it gets kind of messy, right? And you can't really seem to get out of it. And so utilize this pensive, contemplative energy of the 7 and let yourself assess and then reassess a relationship or a past dynamic that needs to have some new information come in, as well as the release of the old. I think what I also want to say for the 2 pinners, you guys, is that there's a new beginning that's coming up for you next month in relationship in this regard. And there is something that just is being asked to let go. In any type of philosophy that, if we go to like Eastern philosophy, if we go to mindfulness at all, there really is no past and there really is no future. There just is the now. And to live just in the now and to be really light about the past and to be really light about the future, in a way that you're doing your best just to show up in the now with anything that's going on in your life. What does that look like? It could look like children. It could look like your intimate personal relationships. It can look like taking care and nurturing a friend and being nurtured by those relationships in kind, finding that balance of give and take. And using your incredible diplomatic skills that you have been, honing and refining this whole entire year in order to, have there be, a diplomatic balance point between any and all places of your life. All right. So the bogey and the target for the 2 personal year working with this 7 energy is release. Okay. I need to look into the chat room. Pamela, hello. I'm glad you're here. Lori, Winter, I think that's you. Hi. Hey, welcome, honey. I'm glad you're here. And Denise is in the house. Hi, love. You guys have any questions or comments? You can just pop them in the chat room. All right, breath. 3 pinners. You are working with the 7 energy. Your bogey and your target is a 1. What are you building? Right. You're thinking about it. Your mind is grinding on it, 3 pinners. And I have to remind everybody, 7 does 2 things. It's a pause, and then where you're assessing everything, because that's what 7 does. It sits and it thinks, and it can become somewhat of a monastic energy where we want to spend more time alone, and we want to think our deep thoughts, and in the positive. I'll tell you, it can get a little funky when it goes to the negative. Those negative thoughts, just trying to get them to slow down, trying to get that stuff to slow down. Sometimes it's challenging. But if you know that this is the energy that you have, that we're working with as a collective, then we can make different decisions around. I have agency to partner with my thinking and how I'm perceiving something, right? Yeah. Is a thought true? Or what kind of relationship are we in with the mental field of our awareness? So, I know. I will get back in the seat and just start doing more live streams. I'm so deep in the weeds right now with writing. I can figure out how to talk again. It's taken me a minute though here, but I can feel myself kind of getting in the saddle again. Okay, so 3 pinners, you guys. Your target is 1. This is independence. This is boldly going where nobody has ever gone before. You've got launches in July happening. And so the juxtaposition here of the creativity of the 3 personal year, which is asking you to speak authentically from the very core of who you are. What makes you tick? The very core of who you are, who has never carved off parts of yourself in order to belong and to be loved. That part. I'm going to let that sit there for a minute, 3 pinners, all right? The 3 personal year is about that expression. When you are just absolutely yourself and you have not quieted parts of who you are in order to fit in anywhere. You're just authentically speaking from right here. And note there is a connection with the 1 energy and the 1 personal year and the 1 life path. Both of my kids are 1 life paths. That's a lot to live your life with no parts or pieces of yourself carved off. How do you do that in a world that asks you to do that in so many different ways in order to belong, in order to be loved, in order to be seen as valuable? It's heavy. And it demands autonomy. It demands authenticity. It demands self-confidence. It's just enormous. So when you have this 7 energy, I'm going to go back to the 3 personal year, you guys. You have this 7 energy that is asking you, 3 pinners, to assess. How are you doing on both fronts? with with the things that you have launched right now in this month. Because you have launches that have happened. How are you doing with you authentically being who you are, speaking it, walking it, talking it, thinking it, feeling it, all day, every day? The 7 sits back. The 7 says, let's talk. Come sit with me, darling. Let's talk. And let's review. Yeah, right. So, I know. You know, I make this, I still do it. I do these write-ups and then I never use them because it seems like something else needs to be said in the time that we're spending together. And so I just gotta let it roll. To be the to be a leader that is anchored in your authentic expression is huge. And we need everybody to be that type of inspirational, authentic leader that is anchored in their soul expression. Do you know that the mess of everything going on in this world would not be happening if we had an educational system that supported that and how we honored and supported one another? Yeah. So we do it ourselves, and we start with ourself, and then we move it out to our relationships, and we support others one-on-one. And then at some point, we support a family unit, and then we support a community unit, and it starts grassroots with us. Because that's the only place that we can control right now in a world that seems to have not learned from the past. I mean, it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. But right now, it's a little nutty out there, and it feels like we've gone quite a few steps back. What we can control, guys, is us. And so for the 3 pinners, you guys, I really want you to think about this. Can you be all that you are in your original form that knows connection, inclusion, radical connection, radical inclusion, creativity bubbling from the core of who you are, and bring that into your leadership, and bring that into what it is that you're creating and why you're creating it. All right, 4s. I just have to do a really quick check here. Lori, you're in a 3 personal year. Okay. Yeah, well, I hope this resonates for you, honey. I know, and a support system. Yeah, I'm working on that too. Just a place for support. If we, I don't see anybody out there in the world greater or lesser than anybody else, and I just don't, and I don't think that there is any god or guru that any of us should technically be thinking about following, or if we are following, there's a piece of that which is imbalanced, and it's giving away our agency. And I'm not talking about faith, or I'm not talking about a faith in something that is bigger than the 5 senses here. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this no greater, no less. And that is our brothers and sisters all across the globe. Each one of us matter in equal measure. Um, and so, yes, okay, I know that's an entire show. For personal years, your target is 2. Now, note I was talking about the 2 not too long ago. You can see the little overlap here. And so you've got relationship that's up. You're thinking about relationship. You're thinking about probably overthinking about relationship. Um, and how are you doing? Super pause in the 7 in a relationship. What's going on there? How's your mind doing? Are you over indexed on thinking about I give and I give and I give and what do I get back? That's the big to don't. Or are you balanced in the give and take in relationship and knowing that it's not your job ever to live somebody else's life for them, and it's not your job to over structure somebody else's life for them. The 4 energy can be very effective in locking and loading systems and structures and orders. It also can say, I'm the only way that this is going to work. My way, how I see this, this is the only way that's going to work. And yet the answer is, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Because the moment that you bring another person into your world, and there is different opinions and different ways of doing things, right? So in your assessment of your relationship 4s, let me give you a hard landing spot here. How can you build it, nurture it better? Where are the parts? Because 2 is, for the most part, is focused on one-to-one relationship. And that just basically means if it's, for you in front of another person, and it's highly intuitive, it's incredibly psychic, and it wants to merge. It wants to have that connection of 2 people coming together as one. 2 minds becoming 1 mind. And that math goes all the way out. But when we are in deep relationship with another human being, we begin to share the same thoughts and we begin to share the same emotions. And we also, we've got our gut brain down here too, which is also important, and it's deeply connected to the body awareness. But when we start to lose the seam of where we end and somebody else begins, we begin to back up, protect ourselves, become less about integration and understanding and more about feeling lost and not acknowledged within the relationship itself. So thank God for the 4-pin. What you've got is stability and structure and order. This month is all about communication in relationship and all about being in relationship. And where can you get, shore things up here so that you've got a solid understanding of the expectations. Here's 4 language: the expectations, the groundwork, the ground rules, the the corners that are keeping that stability point locked in. And that's effective for you because that helps you to think about where's it at, and there are times that we've got to, take a peek at how we're communicating and how we're showing up. So yeah, it's not too complicated for personal year, except that when it gets a little squishy and it goes from building structures, orders, and systems, which it's phenomenal engineering stuff, to going into the heart chakra, which literally is the seven energy, and then taken into relationships, right? So sometimes it just feels like a hard stop. It's a pull me, push you thing, and it's uncomfortable for the for personal year experiencers. But it's also important because we need relationships in our life to thrive and to feel like life is worth living, you know. And the seven can literally become so isolated. You want to spend more time thinking and you want to step back, but balancing it in measure is really important, and also balancing how you're thinking about something like relationship for pinners is also super important. Okay, personal year 5, your target, you guys, is the energy of 3. Note that I'd spent quite a bit of time talking about 3. 5 is getting out there in the world and having a whole new experience than that is totally different than what's normal. 5 energy wants change, it demands change. And so sliding into July, it feels like a breath, which is good. Most 5s need a breath and they need a break and they need a minute. However, it's not quite that dynamic that's working for the 5 personal year in July, because there is this ask that is saying, are you expressing the very essence of who you are? That's through the mouth, through the words that you say and how you say it, in its whole state. Or are you using words that and actions and how you're doing things as a version of yourself that is been carved down in some way in order to belong? And has it become a habit now? In a 5 personal year, I am always quite sober because, you know, like I was trying to, there's just no other way to say what I just said about what is July really for the 5 pinners. Yes, you can go jump out of airplanes and you can go have new experiences. You can try on all sorts of new shirts and relationships. You can just go crazy out there in the world and try everything new because you're exhausted by the routine and the structure of your life. That's one way to go about experiencing the 5. I don't recommend it, but it, the most what the 5 is meant for us to do is to shake up the routine of our life so that we have new experiences that are grounded in our businesses and in our goals and our targets and in our relationships and what we're doing with our bodies and how we're expressing ourselves, trying new foods, just everything. When you add in this component of the 7 in July is asking the 5 inside of this freedom, massive change year, moving houses, possible career changes. It's just nothing is untouched. And it's healthy and it's good for us to have that. Are you authentically showing up now inside of all of it? Is it your most authentic version of you? And are you doing it through how you speak and how you communicate? Is it you? Or is it a carved off version of yourself? That's what's going on for the 5 with July. I know, you guys are being very quiet. I understand. It's okay. I understand. 6 spinners, your target is 4. So, what's your base? What have you built? How's the stability point? What's the viability of the base that you built and why you built it? Where's the structure and the order that's sitting underneath it? When we have the 6 energy, which is family and it's community and it's coming together and being a leader inside of that community and learning how to build other people up. That's what the 6 energy does for its 6th personal year. It's going into a deeper relationship inside a community, building that community. And now we slide into the pause month of 7. And 7 is asking the 6 pinner to look at the base, look at the structure and the system, look at the base of the build, and to assess if that is lined up with your soul's code, the reasons why you built it. And are those reasons, and you know, this looks like it in work, it looks like in relationship, it's just always going to be in those pockets of life. Are they did you build this base for reasons that are wise? And how are you thinking about them? How are you viewing them? How are you thinking about them? You know, so it's not necessarily, I'm not being vague here. And when we look at why we're doing pretty much anything that we're doing, and we're focused on stability points, which right now out there in the world, we're really focused on stability points and our security and making sure that we have a solid base. I mean, it's just something that's in the air, right? You guys can feel it in the air. Having a look at the reasons that are around the base that you've built and making sure that it's lined up with the awareness of you as a spiritual being having a human experience, right? It's just that over, and how you're thinking about it is really the stop point for the 6. And the 6 in July is not going to stop building. You're going to continue to build. It's practical. There's concrete action that you're doing. And yet, you guys, I just want to put a flag out there that you really need to think about it. You need to think about the reasons for the build that you're creating, and if right here in your heart center, it's what you need to be doing. I will leave it at that. Let's go to the 7th personal year. You guys, your target is 5. What do you think about freedom? 7 pins. What do you think about freedom? What is asking for you to get out there and go and do and be? And that is in alignment with the 7 pinners. you've got a 7 personal year. You're in a 7 month. And this is, it can be a potential just crazy storm with how you're connected up with your thoughts, what you're thinking about, why you're thinking about it, and what it is asking of you first and foremost is to really align with the spirit that is housed in this body, to really line yourself up there. And in that lining up, what happens is you begin to understand and integrate more of you into how you're thinking and how you're doing. You begin to integrate this highly intellectualized part of yourself, that's your mental field, and connecting up with the wisdom of your spirit. And that requires effort. If you put in the effort in the month ahead, the last weeks that we have here, and you grab the corners that are, kind of inching its way in, that starts to become, reclusive. You guys don't fall into this pattern of pulling away. The pulling in and the pulling away is in a way that is, it's kind of flipped on its head, where you are not trusting and you're not engaging necessarily with people. You're becoming more isolated. And that can happen with the 7 if you're not careful. Well, use this month, 7-pinners, to have a good look at how you have done so far with the work that you've created, the build that, it's all about finances for 7s. Legal, this is legal and contracts and everything having to do with the build of your future. You're getting ready for the 8 personal year. In this month, you're assessing and you're looking things over, and you're really having a good hard look at, why am I doing what I'm doing? And how do I want to now bring in that 5 energy, which is about movement and change and excitement. It's dynamic, it's engaging, it wants to go out and play and have fun in a way that is grounded and practical, by the way. The way for the 7-pin to look at change, to assess the change that you want and why you want it. Put the mind to really good use. Do something with it. What is the adventure and the freedom that I am desiring? It could be in relationship. It could be in community. It could be in expanding your business, or trying new, workout routines. It could be thought-filled of, I know I'm ready for something new. What would something new be that would be connected to me? And what do I want now? As we analyze our lives, it is really helpful when we're front loading how we're seeing pretty much anything in the world, and how we're moving out and into the world. All right, guys, makes sense. I see a comment in here. Okay. Yeah. Yep. All right. 8-pinners, you guys, your target is 6. And the way that you are going to be drawn to think about, family and community, home and love and responsibility, is through the energy of 6. Assessing how that is functioning in your life and how you feel about it. How is your family dynamic going? Now, the 8 personal year never slows down. And yet, in 7, in a 7 energy, there is a slowing down. People could be moving so fast in their world, in their life. And yet the 7 still slows something down. And the something down is internal, right? And it's also, then it's going to be boots on the ground. Every single 8 pinner out there is wrapped around family right now in one way, shape, or form. And it's about tending, and it's nurturing, and it's loving, and it's in relationship with family, community. And then it's teaching and leading and being somebody who teaches others to do for themselves. It's highly, highly engaging. Yeah. And so assessing, you guys, really taking a hard look how you're thinking about everything I just said. Thinking, the mystic. One thing I haven't said about 7 is it is very comfortable with death. There is no, well, death is death. One of our politicians, I just heard this morning, in the United States, has recently passed. And, well, I don't think he was expecting that, yesterday, but he's not, he died. I won't name names because I usually don't get into politics, but yeah, I thought about that, prepping for the show today, like, 7 knows about death. And so for the 8 pinner, you're in relationship right now with family, whether it's family of choice, whether it's family of origin. That means it's either blood or it's, your choice of family. And how are you doing? How is the mystic inside of you managing your thinking? It's the observer in you. Is it even hooked up? Do you have it hooked up? Because you want to have it hooked up. How you're seeing and perceiving, and where's the belonging and the becoming? Where is that? Where's the symbiotic relationship that's going on there? Yeah. And really assessing that, there's, I know that there's limitations that sit in every family, in every relationship. And, well, not in everyone, but there are situations where there are limitations because there are more people involved. But what we can control is we can control how we're functioning and how we're thinking. And so have a good hard look, 8 pinners, while you have this moment of family and community, and look at the overall health of your family and your community, but also look at how you're thinking about family and community. Yeah. It helps everybody relax when we relax around the mental field, when we relax around the idea of thought, the idea of being in, people are, there's so much teaching around mindfulness. I've taught it for a long time, and there's tons of teaching around manifestation, and it's, being in partnership with your mental field in order for you to create the life that you want to live. Yeah, we all got that now. However, there's a subtle nuance that I think that is missing, that when you begin to recognize that thought is simply an extension and a byproduct of you, your spirit, housed here in this body, having a life, you can have more of a relaxed relationship with it. And then therefore you can have more of a relaxed relationship with your emotional center too, right? There is incredible wisdom with the seven, um and so just sit, eight pinners, with an idea that you are reevaluating how you're thinking about family, the thought patterns that are around community. Just have a moment and let yourself kind of anchor into the idea. Again, you need the space and time to do that, right? But I really suggest it. I'm going to move to the nines, and the nines, your target is 7. That is a really easy way to wrap this show, you guys. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. 9 is letting go and letting go and letting go and letting go. Release, release, release. A lot of it is just releasing how you're tied and tethered to the past. And I don't need to repeat anything more than I've repeated about the 7 energy, right? Tied and tethered to the past. Have a look and see if you really can let go of things that no longer serve you. Habits, behaviors, 9 pinners. The great humanitarian in you that can sit here in the present moment, and it can be aligned with, this is just the now, right now. And this is all there is right now. And be light about the past and be light about the future, even though that's a pipeline that is actually moving through your system. You're meant to just drop fully into the mystic. You're meant to drop fully into thinking about death and thinking about letting your brain dialogue deeply with your spirit, and to enjoy the process, to get in there and let yourself have the deep philosophical, mystical ahas. Let the magic of that start to come through, because again, it's connected to, it's like our soul's way of communicating. That's exactly what it is. If our soul or spirit, whatever this thing that's consciousness that is right here housed in this body, were speaking, had the floor to speak, what would you say? How would you think? What would be the ahas that are just going to break down those walls of limitations that have gotten in the way just because of repetition over and over and over again? How would you be thinking about things? And how would you be, what would that experience be? Shake your mind up a little bit, from the repetitive thoughts that you have, and just shake it up. Open up to different potentials, and this for the 9 personal year, you're obviously going to have as well your nose looking at legal documents and looking at, it's all about an intellectual analysis of the world itself in business and routine and all that kind of stuff. But there is this back end element, which is the magic of mysticism is actually your birthright. And we all come from that same source. So you get to go play in that. And when you start to do that, things start to change in remarkable ways. All right, you guys, that is my show. And I hope that wasn't absolutely vague. I love you all very much, and I promise I will get back on the saddle of the personal year cycles and some other things that I've got that in the hopper. And know that I'm over at One to Listen if you need a reading and you need to have a look at anything going on in your life. Bye, you guys. Have a great, wonderful rest of your week.